Travis Allen Monroe stood at attention in full dress blues, his jaw set with determination as he gazed into Alice's hazel eyes. The summer sun beat down on them, casting a golden hue across the military chapel's grounds at Camp Valor. 30 of their closest friends and family watched as they exchanged vows, a moment Travis had imagined since their first date 3 years ago. I, Travis Allen Monroe, take you, Alice and Marie Donovan, to be my lawfully wedded wife. His voice remained steady, betraying none of the emotions churning inside him: pride, love, and a hint of apprehension about the deployment looming just 8 weeks away. Travis had joined the Marines at 19, seeking structure and purpose after a troubled youth in rural Ohio. His father, a coal miner with a penchant for bourbon and disappointment, had taught him primarily what not to become. His mother, worn down by years of struggle, had passed when he was 16, leaving only a faded photograph and her unwavering belief that her son was destined for greatness. The Marines had recognized something in Travis that even he hadn't fully acknowledged: an unflinching resolve and analytical mind that made him perfect for special operations. By 25, he'd completed the grueling selection process for Marine Special Operations Command, Mavrock, becoming one of the elite operators tasked with the military's most sensitive missions. At the reception, Leo Ortega, Travis's staff sergeant and closest friend, raised a glass. To Travis and Allie, may your love be as strong as Travis's right hook, which saved my hide more times than I care to admit. The toast rippled through the crowd, and Allie beamed, her champagne glass catching the light. She had met Travis when he was still finding his footing in the Corps, a young woman pursuing a marketing degree who had been drawn to his quiet intensity and hidden vulnerability. For Travis, Allie represented everything good and normal, a contrast to the shadowy world he inhabited during deployments. Don't worry, Allie, Leo's wife, Maria, added, embracing the new bride. The Mavrock wives stick together. We got your back while these knuckleheads are off playing hero. Travis caught Allie's eye across the table, detecting a flicker of uncertainty on her face before her smile returned. Later that night, in the quiet of their new 2-bedroom home on the outskirts of Cedar Grove, North Carolina, Travis traced patterns on Allie's bare shoulder. "Second thoughts about us," he whispered. "Never," she replied, nestling closer. "About this life? Sometimes. 8 months is a long time to be apart. This deployment is important, Allie. The team needs me. And I don't." Her voice cut sharply, a tone he rarely heard. Travis sat up, the moonlight carving shadows across his muscular frame. "You know it's not like that. This is who I am. It's what I do," he stated firmly at her side. "I know. I'm proud of you, Travis. I'm just scared sometimes," she admitted. Travis couldn't articulate how the mission centered him, how the clarity of purpose in combat made sense in a way that civilian life sometimes didn't. But Allie couldn't express her growing resentment at sharing her husband with an institution that demanded his ultimate loyalty. As Travis drifted to sleep, Allie remained awake, staring at the ceiling and wondering if she was strong enough for the life she had just committed to. 6 months into Travis's deployment to an undisclosed location in northern Arcadia, Allie's resolve began to crumble. The marketing firm where she worked had hired Ryan Westbrook, a smooth-talking account executive from Detroit, with perfectly tailored suits and stories from a life that seemed worlds away from military existence. Initially, Allie maintained professional distance, mentioning her husband in their first conversation. "Marine Special Forces, huh?" Ryan remarked, leaning against her desk. "Guess that makes you something of a military widow for now." She snapped, bristling at the comment, though she couldn't deny its truth. Meanwhile, the sparse, encrypted calls from Travis had become shorter, his voice growing more distant due to operational security that meant he shared almost nothing of his daily reality. All the while, she exhausted her limited store of upbeat anecdotes to maintain the facade that she was thriving in his absence. One evening, after a particularly successful client pitch, The office celebrated at Seaside Tavern, a waterfront bar that had become their regular haunt. Ryan sat beside Ellie, his knee occasionally brushing against hers. "Your husband's a lucky man," he said, his voice dropping to an intimate register barely audible above the music. "I'm the lucky one," Ellie replied automatically, though the words felt hollow. Ryan's intense, focused eyes made her feel seen in a way she hadn't in months. "Is that why you check your phone every 5 minutes, hoping for a message that rarely comes?" The accuracy of his observation stunned her. Across the room, Jessica, Allie's sister who had moved to Cedar Grove to be near her during Travis's deployment, caught her eye with an expression that served as a clear warning. Later that night, Jessica confronted her in the bathroom. "That guy is trouble, Allie. I've seen the way he looks at you." "We're just colleagues," Jessica warned. "Travis has been gone for months, Jess. My marriage isn't so fragile that I can't have male friends. Friends don't look at friends like they're imagining them naked. Friends don't look back the way you were looking at him." The accusation hung between them, neither acceptable nor entirely dismissible. At home, Allie found a new email from Travis. Brief, formal, loving, but distant. He would be radio silent for the next 2 weeks due to operational necessity. She poured herself another glass of wine and stared at their wedding photo, wondering if the smiling couple still existed. Then her phone buzzed with a text from Ryan. "You got home okay?" She hesitated only briefly before responding. Meanwhile, in a remote outpost, Travis and his team prepared for a high-risk extraction. Intelligence had identified an American hostage held by insurgents, and Maverick had initiated the rescue operation. "Thinking about your girl back home?" Leo asked as they cleaned their weapons. Travis nodded, checking his sidearm. "Always," Leo noted, recalling how Maria had mentioned that Ailey had been unusually quiet in the spouses group. "What are you not saying, Leo?" Travis inquired. Leo set down his rifle and replied, "Probably nothing." Maria had mentioned seeing some pictures on social media. Ailey out with her coworkers, with some guy hanging pretty close. As Travis continued reassembling his weapon, Leo added, "Ellie is allowed to have a life. I trust her. I never said you shouldn't. Just remember, first deployments are hard on marriages. Stay connected however you can." Travis nodded, though doubt had already taken root. That night, as he tried to sleep before the mission, he pulled up the last photo Allie had sent. Her smile seemed forced, and her eyes held something he couldn't decipher. By the 7th month of deployment, what had begun as innocent texting between Allie and Ryan had evolved into daily emotional intimacy. After a particularly difficult day, when news reported casualties in Travis's operational region, with no way to confirm his safety, Allie accepted Ryan's invitation to dinner, ostensibly as friends. One dinner became a weekly comfort. It led to lingering touches, stolen kisses in the parking garage, and ultimately the ultimate betrayal in the home she shared with Travis. Ryan Westbrook had pursued Allie. Behind his charming exterior lay a predatory opportunism. He targeted Allie specifically after learning her husband was deployed with Marine Special Forces. "You deserve someone who's actually here," he whispered as they lay in her bed, Travis's bed, one night. "Someone who puts you first, not country first." Allie's guilt wrestled with her loneliness. "Travis is serving our country. He's making sacrifices and expecting you to sacrifice everything too." Ryan interrupted. "When's the last time he asked about your career? Your dreams? All he wants is for you to wait patiently while he plays hero." The words struck deep, echoing thoughts Allie had battled within herself. As weeks passed, Ryan's presence in Allie's life and home became more permanent. He began leaving his clothes in her closet, and his favorite whiskey appeared on the shelf beside Travis's untouched bourbon. Across the ocean, Travis's team successfully completed their hostage extraction, earning rare commendations. Yet the victory felt hollow for Travis, whose mind increasingly drifted toward home. Leo's casual comment had festered into persistent worry. "One more month, brother," Leo said as they packed their gear. Then back to hot showers and cold beer. And why forget what we look like? Added specialist Dominic Rivera, the youngest on their team. Speak for yourself, Travis replied with forced lightness. Allie's probably counting down the days. That night, Travis attempted a video call, enduring 3 failed connections before Allie's face appeared, slightly flushed. The bedroom looked different. Had she moved the lamp? Hey babe, I wasn't expecting your call tonight, she said, her voice oddly pitched. I'm okay, he replied. You look distracted. Just tired. Work's been crazy, she admitted, angling the camera upward to show less of the room. How are you? Safe, he asked. As safe as can be expected. Listen, I might be able to get home a couple of weeks early. Thought I'd surprise you. But I guess I just ruined the surprise, she explained. A flash of alarm crossed Allie's face before she quickly masked it. That's great, she offered hesitantly. Well, not exactly. I'm not sure yet. Operations are fluid. It could be 2 weeks, maybe 3. Their conversation continued, superficial and strained. After disconnecting, Travis sat in the communications tent, replaying the call in his mind. Something was off, but he couldn't pinpoint what. Back in Cedar Grove, Allie turned to Ryan, who had been silently standing in the bathroom during the call. He's coming home early, she said flatly. Ryan wrapped his arms around her. So we should enjoy what time we have left. Then, his expression turned calculating. Unless you're ready to make a choice, he'll be gone again, Allie. That's the life you signed up for. Endless deployments. Constant worry. Living for brief moments between extended absences. I made vows, Ryan, to a man who put his commitment to the Marines above his commitment to you. Allie protested as Ryan kissed her neck. Think about it. His house, the car he barely drives, his military benefits, could support us while we build something better. Ryan argued smoothly. What are you saying? You want me to take Travis's money? She demanded. I want us to use the resources available to build our life together, Ryan corrected. Besides, these military guys always land on their feet. The government takes care of them, he added. The suggestion should have horrified her. It ought to have been the moment she ordered him out of her life. Instead, Allie found herself considering it. Hatred for her own weakness, mingled with the temptation of escape from her increasingly lonely existence. What Allie didn't know was that Ryan had done this before, 3 times with other military wives. And what Ryan didn't know was that Travis Monroe was not like the other husbands, and the storm brewing on the horizon would consume them all. Captain Arthur Fleming regarded Travis with concern across his desk. You sure about this, Monroe? He asked. The scheduled return is only 2 weeks away. Family emergency, sir, Travis replied, maintaining parade rest. He couldn't explain his growing certainty that something was wrong at home. The intuition that had kept him alive through 3 combat tours was screaming that his marriage was in danger. Operational security remains in effect. Fleming reminded him. Your team extracted a high-value individual. There are people who would love to identify who was involved. Understood, sir. I'll maintain cover protocols, Travis replied. Fleming nodded. Your record speaks for itself, Monroe. Take the emergency leave. Back in 3 weeks. 48 hours later, Travis touched down at Liberty International Airport in civilian clothes, his military haircut hidden under a baseball cap. He told no one of his return, not Allie, not Leo, no one. The drive to Cedar Grove in his rental car gave him time to rehearse different scenarios. Perhaps his instincts were wrong. Perhaps Allie had simply been stressed about work. Perhaps. On Friday evening, when Travis pulled onto his street, he parked 2 blocks from his house to observe. Allie's car sat in the driveway beside an unfamiliar black BMW. Warm lights glowed through the windows of his home. Travis approached on foot, moving with years of tactical discipline that made him a shadow among shadows. Through the living room window, he saw them. Allie laughing, wine glass in hand, curled against a man Travis had never seen before. The man wore Travis's USMC sweatshirt, lounging comfortably on Travis's couch while holding his wife. A cold, calculating demeanor replaced the initial surge of rage within him. Travis retreated, circling to the rear of the house where the bedroom window was slightly open. Ellie always complained that the room got too stuffy otherwise. He positioned himself beneath the window and listened as their voices carried on the night air. "Your friends still don't know about us," the man said. "Jessica suspects," Ellie replied. "She keeps making these comments about loyalty." The man laughed. "Loyalty is overrated. You know what I told my buddy Derek? I said, the foolish Marine is overseas while I'm enjoying his house, his car, and his woman. Why should Travis get to keep all this when he's not even here to appreciate it?" Travis's hands clenched into fists, his breathing controlled by disciplined practice. "Ryan, don't talk like that," Ellie chided, though her voice lacked real conviction. "Besides, we need to be careful. If Travis finds out before we're ready, what's he gonna do? The guy's been dodging bullets in some desert. He wouldn't know the first thing about handling someone like me," she added quietly. "He's from Mavrock, Special Operations," she insisted. Ryan scoffed. "Special Operations? They're not special. He's still just a military grunt. I grew up in Detroit. My street fighting is on another level compared to your combat experience." His voice faded as they moved deeper into the house. An hour later, after watching Ryan and Ellie leave in the BMW, Travis entered his home using his key. The familiar space felt alien now, contaminated by another man's presence. He moved silently through each room, noting signs of intrusion. Familiar clothes in the closet now mingled with unfamiliar items, a different brand of coffee in the kitchen, and a pair of expensive cufflinks on the dresser. In his office, he discovered that his desk had been searched, with papers rearranged in a way only someone with his training would notice. He checked the small safe hidden behind a false panel. It was still secure. Inside were his service weapon, backup documentation, and an emergency fund of $5,000 in cash. Travis settled into his chair, formulating a plan. When headlights swept across the front window 3 hours later, he positioned himself in a dark corner of the living room, silent and watchful. Soon, Ali entered first, laughing at something Ryan had said as he followed, carrying takeout bags. They froze when Travis flipped on the lamp beside him. "Travis," Ali gasped, her face draining of color. "You're home early." Ryan recovered quickly, setting down the bags and extending his hand with forced confidence. "He must be the husband," blurted Ryan Westbrook. "Look, this isn't what it seems." "It's exactly what it seems," Travis replied, his voice dangerously calm as he remained seated, posture relaxed yet alert. "My wife and her lover, coming home after a night out. In my house." "Travis, please. I can explain. I heard enough through the bedroom window earlier," Ellie pleaded. Travis cut her off. "About how the foolish Marine is overseas while you enjoy his house, his car, and his woman. That was you, right?" he demanded, shifting his gaze to Ryan. Ryan's false bravado hardened into something more menacing as he stepped forward, using his slight height advantage to look down at Travis. "Look, man, these things happen. Military marriages fall apart all the time. No need to make this ugly," Ryan argued. Travis stood smoothly. "You're in my house, wearing my clothes, and sleeping with my wife. And you think there's a version of this that isn't ugly?" Ryan's posture shifted into a fighting stance. "Your combat experience is nothing compared to my street fighting," he threatened, echoing the very words Travis had overheard. "I grew up fighting every day just to survive." Travis's expression remained unchanged. "Actually, I'm not just any Marine." What happened next occurred so rapidly that Ellie barely processed the movement. Travis sidestepped Ryan's telegraphed punch, caught his extended arm, and applied precise pressure to nerve clusters while simultaneously sweeping Ryan's legs. 3 seconds later, Ryan lay immobilized on the floor, his face contorted in agony, a technique designed to incapacitate without causing permanent damage. "Ali, you're hurting him," she screamed. "He's fine," Travis replied calmly. "He's just experiencing temporary nerve compression. He'll recover in about 30 seconds, which gives you time to start explaining why your lover has been accessing my personal files." Ali's expression shifted from fear to confusion. "What?" Ryan wouldn't. "Someone's been through my office. Either you've developed an interest in my military documentation, or he has." Ryan's senses gradually returned to his limbs. Travis allowed him to climb unsteadily to his feet while maintaining tactical distance. "You crazy man," Ryan gasped, rubbing his arm. "I never touched your stuff," Ryan protested. "Travis, please, this all just happened. I was lonely, and Ryan was there. And you decided the appropriate response was to move him into our home." Ali insisted, tears now flowing. Travis's voice remained unflinchingly controlled. "To give him access to everything we built. It wasn't like that." Ali continued, "Ryan, tell him we weren't planning anything." Ryan's eyes darted between Travis and the door, calculating his chances. "Look, things got complicated. Ali was talking about divorce anyway. We were just trying to figure out our next steps." Travis reached into his pocket and extracted a small digital recorder. "Let's see what those next steps include, shall we?" he said, pressing play. Ryan's voice filled the room. "With his combat pay and savings, plus the military benefits if you divorced, we could have a fresh start." Ali's gasp seemed genuine. "Ryan, you said you were joking about that." Travis stopped the recording. "Military lawyers are very thorough," he said quietly. "They've seen every version of this scam. Married service members deploy. Funds are drained. Credit cards maxed out. Loans taken in the service member's name. I would never steal from you." Ali protested, but Travis continued, nodding toward Ryan. "He's done it before. Haven't you, Westbrook?" Ryan's expression confirmed Travis's suspicion. "You don't know anything," Ryan snarled. "I know enough," Travis countered. "Now you're both going to leave. You have 30 minutes to pack essential items. Anything else can be arranged through attorneys." Ali stepped forward, desperation in her eyes. "Travis, please. I made a terrible mistake. We can work through this." "We can't," Travis interrupted, his composure finally cracking to reveal the depth of his pain. "You brought another man into our home, into our bed. You betrayed everything we built. And you were never truly here. 8 months, Travis. 8 months of 5-minute calls and cryptic emails. 8 months of wondering if you were dead or alive, while you chose the Marines over me every single day. I chose to serve our country," Ali shouted. "You chose to betray it by targeting a deployed service member's family. You became a threat to operational security the moment you helped him access my personal information." Travis replied coldly. Ryan stepped toward the door. "This is insane. I'm leaving. Not without me," Ali declared, her gaze hardening as she looked at Travis. "You're right. We're done." As they gathered their things under Travis's watchful eye, neither noticed him reactivate the recorder, documenting every word, a piece of evidence that would protect him in what was to come. Travis sat alone in his contaminated home after Ali and Ryan had departed, systematically working through his options. His training had prepared him for battlefield triathlons. Now he applied those principles to his shattered life. First priority: security. He changed the locks, reset all his passwords, and placed a fraud alert on his credit. He contacted his bank, explaining that he was a recently returned service member with concerns about account access. The bank representative, a veteran herself, immediately froze his accounts pending his in-person verification. Second priority: documentation. Travis transcribed the recordings, photographed evidence of Ryan's presence in his home, and compiled a chronology of events, a display of military precision applied to marital catastrophe. Third priority: Tactical assessment. Travis needed intelligence on his adversaries before planning his next move. At dawn, he called Leo. "Holy smokes, you're back early." Leo exclaimed. "Why didn't you tell me?" "It's complicated," Travis replied. "I need a secure place to stay and some help with surveillance." After a moment of silence, Leo asked, "Is this about Allie?" "I found her with someone. A coworker named Ryan Westbrook," Travis stated. "I need to know if they're planning anything I should worry about." Leo's voice darkened. "Give me 2 hours. A rental property is standing empty. I'll text you the address." By noon, Travis had established a temporary base of operations in a small house near Camp Valor. Leo arrived with supplies along with Dominic Rivera, the team's surveillance specialist. "This isn't official business," Leo warned Dominic. "Just a personal favor." Dominic noted grimly, "Military family is family." "What do you need?" Dominic asked. Travis outlined his concerns about potential financial exploitation and security risks. "This guy has targeted military spouses before. I need to know if he's done anything that could compromise operational security." "Are you thinking of an operational security violation?" Leo asked suddenly, more seriously. "A breach could endanger entire teams." "I don't know," Travis admitted, "but he had access to my home office where I keep some documentation. Nothing classified, but enough personal information to cause problems." For the next 3 days, they established a rotation. While Travis met with a military attorney and secured his finances, Leo and Dominic tracked Ryan and Allie's movements. The picture that emerged was troubling. They were staying at the Grand Regency on Route 17, as Dominic reported while showing Travis photographs. Westbrook had made multiple calls to various numbers, one to a law firm specializing in military divorces and another to a private investigator. "He's building a case," Dominic explained. Travis murmured, "There's more." Leo added, "The private investigator he contacted specializes in digging up dirt on service members to use in divorce proceedings, targeting special operators by claiming PTSD and mental instability to secure favorable settlements." Travis absorbed this, his expression hardening. "They're not just leaving. They're trying to destroy me," he said. "It looks that way." Leo confirmed. "The question is, what are you going to do about it?" Travis reviewed the surveillance photos. "First, I talked to Jessica. Allie's sister, Jessica Donovan, might know something. Then I'll decide if this is a defensive or offensive operation." Later, Jessica Donovan met Travis at a coffee shop near the community college where she taught. Her expression was a mixture of sympathy and guilt. "I tried to warn you," she said after Travis explained what she had discovered. "I knew something was happening with that guy, but Allie insisted it was just friendship." "When did it start?" Jessica sighed. 3 months into your deployment, he started showing up everywhere. Always so helpful, so understanding. I told Allie he was too smooth, but she said I was paranoid." "Did she mention anything about money or access to your accounts?" Jessica hesitated. "Not directly, but about a month ago, she asked me odd questions about military benefits, what happens financially during divorces. I thought she was just considering options. And regarding Ryan, there's more. He's a Detroit native, divorced, works in marketing. He always has cash yet complains about being broke." Jessica leaned forward. "But Travis, there's something off about him. The way he looks at people, as if he's calculating their value." Travis's voice remained clinical and detached. "What do you mean?" "Ryan Westbrook isn't his real name," Jessica revealed. "My team did some digging. His real name is Richard Warner. He's executed this exact routine with 3 other military wives: seduce, isolate, convince them to drain their accounts, then vanish with the cash." "Oh my God," Jessica whispered. "Does Allie know?" "I doubt it," Travis said. "She's just a mark to him, not a partner." Jessica looked troubled. "What are you going to do?" "What I'm trained to do," Travis replied coldly. "Gather intelligence, identify vulnerabilities, and neutralize the threat. Jessica said cautiously, "Travis, this isn't combat. This is civilian life." "Is it?" Travis countered. "Because from where I'm sitting, I'm still being attacked by hostile forces." He stood, leaving cash on the table for the coffee. "Just stay clear of both of them for now. This will get worse before it gets better." Ryan Westbrook, whose true identity is Richard Warner, believed he had the upper hand. Lounging in his hotel room, while Ali was still recovering from her earlier encounter, he made another call to the divorce attorney, specializing in military cases. "Yes, clear signs of aggression," Ryan said smoothly. "He physically threatened me. Military training makes him dangerous and unpredictable." "Yes, we can provide documentation of his volatile behavior," the attorney replied. "Perfect." Ryan ended the call, satisfied. The playbook had worked before. Take the service member as unstable, leverage the trauma narrative, and secure a settlement that included substantial alimony and asset division. The current wife was always crucial. Her testimony about her husband's alleged instability carried weight with judges. Soon, Ali emerged from the bathroom, wrapped in a towel, her eyes red from crying. Ryan's demeanor instantly softened. "Hey, it's going to be okay," he said gently, adding, "Our attorney assures me we have a strong case." But Ali's relief was short-lived. Meanwhile, Travis's counteroffensive began at dawn. His first target was Ryan's credibility. Dominic had discovered that Ryan was driving with a suspended license from Illinois. Additionally, the black BMW was leased under a different name, Anthony Rivers, with missed payments, according to an anonymous tip to the police. Travis instructed, "Set up a highway patrol checkpoint near their hotel at 2 p.m., when they usually go out for lunch." The second target was Ryan's professional standing. Leo had uncovered that Ryan's marketing credentials were falsified. His claimed MBA from Northwestern was fictional, and his supposed agency experience in Detroit was non-existent. "Send this documentation to his current employer," Travis directed, anonymously citing a concerned client who had discovered discrepancies. The third target was Ali's perception of her lover. Jessica had provided access to Ali's laptop during a brief visit, allowing Dominic to clone her email credentials. Now they monitored her communications, waiting for strategic openings. They didn't have to wait long. By afternoon, Ryan was in police custody for the suspended license and questionable vehicle registration. The BMW was impounded, leaving Ellie stranded at the hotel. When Ryan called, demanding that she bail him out, Dominic captured the conversation through the compromised phone. "What do you mean you don't have access to cash?" Ryan's voice was harsh, nothing like his usual smooth tone. "Use your credit cards. They're maxed out." Ali snapped. "I've been paying for everything since we left." "Figure it out," Ryan retorted before the call ended. Travis listened to the recording, noting Ali's distress and Ryan's true colors emerging under pressure. "Send her the Northwestern verification email," he instructed. Minutes later, Ali received an official-looking message from Northwestern University Verification Services, responding to her supposed inquiry about Ryan Westbrook's credentials. No record found. By evening, Ryan's employer had received documentation of his falsified resume, and before he could even make bail, he was terminated via email. The systematic dismantling continued for 3 days. Each time Ryan or Ali attempted to advance their position, they encountered obstacles. The divorce attorney dropped them after receiving anonymous evidence of Ryan's previous identity fraud, and the hotel asked them to leave after credit card payments were declined. Ryan's remaining cash dwindled with bail costs and legal fees. On the 4th day, Travis intercepted a text from Ryan to an unknown number. "Need to accelerate the timetable. Military husband becoming a problem. Asset extraction must happen immediately." Leo repeated grimly when Travis showed him the message. "That confirms it." Travis knew it was time for the finishing move. Afternoon, as a desperate Ryan attempted to salvage his plan by pressuring Ali to contact Travis about retrieving her things from the house, Travis positioned his team. Leo stationed himself near the hotel, tracking Ryan's movements, while Dominic monitored electronic communications. Travis waited at home, with doors unlocked and security cameras active. When Ali arrived alone, Travis greeted her calmly in the living room. "Where are your things?" she asked softly. "What looks empty?" "They're all packed away," Travis replied. "It seems appropriate after strangers occupied my home." Ali flinched. "I deserve that." "No, you deserve worse," Travis stated evenly. "But that's not why you're here. Your sister told me you're running out of options." Ali looked betrayed. "What are you talking about?" Travis activated a tablet displaying Ryan's intercepted communications, including messages to previous victims and conversations with associates about asset extraction. "Ryan Westbrook is actually Richard Warner," he explained clinically. "He's executed this exact routine with 3 other military wives. Seduce, isolate, convince them to drain their accounts, then vanish with the cash." Ali's face drained of color. "No, he wouldn't. He already has, multiple times." Travis scrolled through more evidence. "He's been planning to use you to access my money from the beginning. Once he had it, you'd never see him again." Tears welled in Ali's eyes. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because despite everything, you're still my wife," Travis said, his voice finally softening slightly. "And no one deserves to be used like this." Ali sank onto the couch, confronted with the magnitude of her mistake. "I've ruined everything," she whispered. "Yes, you have, but you can choose not to be an accomplice in financial fraud," Travis replied without malice. Then his phone buzzed. A text from Leo. "Target is on the move toward your location. ETA. 10 minutes. Travis showed Ali the message. "He's coming here now. He probably realized you might reconcile with me and cut him off from a potential payday." "What do we do?" Ali asked, genuine fear in her eyes. "We let him reveal himself," Travis replied. "But first, you need to decide whose side you're on." The moment of truth had arrived as Ryan's rental car pulled into the driveway. Inside the house, Travis had given Ali a crucial choice, one that would determine not just the end of their marriage, but the very nature of that ending. Ryan charged through the front door without knocking, his face contorted with barely contained rage. Finding Ali and Travis sitting calmly in the living room stopped him short. "What the hell is this?" he demanded, glaring at Ali. "I thought you were just getting your things. We were talking." Ali replied, her voice surprisingly steady. "About who you really are, Richard." Ryan's expression flickered for a microsecond, a tell that confirmed the accusation. He recovered quickly, forcing a confused laugh. "Who's Richard?" "Ali has been feeding you lies," Travis interjected. He remained seated, posture relaxed yet alert. "Northwestern has no record of your MBA, Richard. Neither does BCG Marketing in Detroit, where you claim to have worked for 5 years. This is ridiculous. Ali, we need to go now, so you can drain his accounts too," Travis asked mildly. "Like you did with Melissa Chambers in San Mateo or Catherine Benson at Fort Black," Ryan retorted. His practiced charm vanished, replaced by cold calculation. He scanned the room, noting the cameras in the corners, and weighing his options. "Military types always stick together," he finally said. "I'm spinning conspiracy theories because I can't accept that your wife chose someone else." "I made a mistake," Ali interjected, standing to face Ryan. "You manipulated me when I was vulnerable." Ryan stepped toward her, his voice hardening. "We had a plan, Ali. Everything we talked about. Starting fresh, building a real life away from military restrictions, was real." "Was it?" she challenged. "Or was I just your latest target? Another military wife to exploit?" Ryan's demeanor shifted again, sensing he was losing control. He softened and reached for Ali's hand. "Baby, don't let him turn you against us. Whatever he showed you is fabricated. Guys like him have buddies everywhere who will help smear civilians." Travis watched the performance with clinical detachment. Ryan was adaptive and persuasive, reading Allie's emotional cues and adjusting his approach accordingly. In another context, Travis might have admired such psychological warfare skills, but now Allie wavered, her resolve visibly weakening under Ryan's practiced gaze. "Maybe you're right," Allie said slowly. "Maybe I'm confused." A flicker of predatory triumph flashed across Ryan's face. "Trust your heart, not his psychological warfare. Remember how he attacked me. That's who he really is, violence simmering just beneath the surface." Allie nodded and stepped closer to Ryan, moving further from Travis. "I should get my things. I've already packed everything from your dresser," she said, nodding toward a suitcase by the stairs, "including the emergency cash in your jewelry box." Ryan's eyes darted to the suitcase, a reflexive gesture that wasn't lost on Allie. It was clear. He had been searching for it. "You went through my things?" Allie asked, directing the question at Ryan. "What?" "No," Ryan protested, but his delayed response betrayed him. Travis rose smoothly. "There's one more thing you should know before you leave," he said, addressing Allie while watching Ryan. "All accounts have been frozen, and potential fraud has been reported. Tier Relief Services are investigating unusual activity during my deployment." Ryan's composure cracked. "You had no right." "I have every right to protect my finances from theft," Travis cut him off. "The investigation will determine if any crimes were committed." The word crimes triggered something in Ryan. His confident facade collapsed, revealing the cornered predator beneath. He grabbed Allie's arm roughly. "We're leaving now. Get your stuff." "Let go of me," she cried, trying to pull away. "After everything I've done for you." "Ryan, you owe me something," he snarled, his grip tightening. "I don't owe you anything," Allie countered, struggling more forcefully. Ryan's control snapped entirely. He shoved Allie against the wall, his other hand balled into a fist. "You ungrateful wretch," he spat, not even completing the sentence. With practiced precision, Travis inserted himself between Ryan and Allie. He blocked the raised fist and applied targeted pressure to nerve clusters, sending Ryan collapsing to his knees in agony. "That's the real Ryan Westbrook," Travis stated calmly. "Or should I say, Richard Warner, whatever name you're using this week." Allie stared in horror at the man she had almost believed again moments earlier. "I want him gone," she whispered. "Oh, he's leaving," Travis assured her, maintaining the nerve hold that kept Ryan immobilized. "The question is, how? In handcuffs for assault, captured on multiple cameras, or with a chance for him to vanish before charges are filed?" Ryan glared up at Travis, hatred burning through his pain. "You set me up." "No," Travis corrected coolly. "I created conditions where you would reveal yourself." Big difference. Releasing the pressure point, Travis allowed Ryan to slump to the floor. "You have 1 hour to leave Cedar Grove," he informed him. "After that, the assault footage goes to the police, along with evidence of identity fraud across 3 states. You can't threaten me." Ryan gasped, struggling to stand. "It's not a threat," he muttered. "It is an operational timeline," Travis replied. "Ask Allie. I've never missed a deadline." While Ryan staggered to his feet, Travis turned to Allie. "You should pack your things. You can stay with Jessica until you figure out your next steps." Allie nodded, tears streaming down her face. Travis added sharply, "And we'll talk logistics later. Right now, I need you both gone." As Ryan stumbled toward the door, Travis delivered one final surgical strike. "By the way, the BMW has been reported stolen by Anthony Rivers. Apparently, you took it when you left Detroit under complicated circumstances." Ryan froze. "How did you?" "Marine Special Operations Command operators have resources you can only imagine," Travis said simply. "I'd stick to public transportation from now on." After they left separately, Allie refusing to go anywhere with Ryan, Travis contacted Leo and Dominic, who had been monitoring everything remotely. "Target neutralized?" Leo asked. "Exposed and on the run," Travis confirmed. Keep surveillance until he's out of the state. Then Travis gazed around the empty house that no longer felt like home. No longer my concern, he said, though a slight catch in his voice betrayed the cost of his victory. Port Harbor provided neutral territory far enough from Cedar Grove to avoid unwanted encounters. Travis arrived early at a local coffee shop, securing a corner table with clear sightlines to all exits, a habit from his operational days that might never fade. When Allie entered, Travis almost didn't recognize her. The confident marketing professional he once knew had been replaced by someone more subdued. Her designer clothes had been exchanged for simple jeans and a sweater, and her carefully maintained highlights had grown out to reveal her natural brown hair. "Thank you for meeting me," she said as she slid into the chair across from him. Travis nodded, studying her silently. "I don't know where to start," Allie admitted after an uncomfortable silence. "Why did you want this meeting?" Travis asked in a neutral tone. Allie wrapped her hands around her coffee cup. "To apologize, to explain, if you'll let me. Not to justify. Nothing justifies what I did, but to help you understand. I understand that predators target vulnerability," she began. Travis replied. Ryan saw an opportunity and exploited it. It wasn't just him. Quietly, Allie said, "I made choices, terrible ones." Travis leaned back, creating psychological distance. "Why now?" "It's been 2 months. Because I needed to understand myself first," Allie explained. "I've been in therapy, trying to figure out how I became someone capable of betraying everything I claimed to value." Travis hadn't considered that Allie might be engaged in her own kind of after-action review, analyzing the failure points in her character. "And what did you discover?" he asked, genuine curiosity breaking through his defenses. "But I was never prepared for military life," Allie answered honestly. "I loved you. I still do. But I hated sharing you with the Corps. Every deployment, every training exercise, every time national security came before our plans, it built resentment I never acknowledged." "You could have talked to me," Travis pointed out. "Could you?" Allie challenged gently. "You were always so certain about your path, so committed to the mission. Whenever I expressed doubts, you reassured me about the importance of your work, never acknowledging that your certainty came at my expense." The accusation stung, for it contained truths Travis had long avoided confronting. His devotion to duty had sometimes blinded him to Allie's struggles. "That still doesn't justify betrayal," he said firmly. "No," Allie agreed immediately. "Nothing does. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Travis. I don't deserve it. I'm asking for completion, for both of us to acknowledge what happened, so we can move forward separately." Travis studied her, recognizing genuine remorse. The tactical part of him remained wary. Emotion could be feigned and contrition simulated. But another part, the part that had loved her enough to promise forever, sensed authentic pain. "Ryan?" he asked, testing her sincerity. "Gone," Allie replied without hesitation. "After you exposed him, I saw him clearly for the first time. Everything you said was true. He had been manipulating me from the beginning." "Did you love him?" The question slipped out before Travis could stop it. Allie considered carefully before answering. "I loved the illusion he created, someone fully present, fully focused on me. But that person never existed." They sat in silence, two people who had once shared everything, now connected only by mutual pain and fading memories. "The divorce papers are being processed," Travis finally said. "My lawyer will contact yours about the division of assets." "I don't want anything," Allie interjected. "The house proceeds, the savings, they should all be yours." Travis shook his head. "That's not how it works. You're entitled to your share under the law, even after everything I did. My sense of justice won't allow me to take everything, despite your betrayal. We'll follow legal guidelines, a clean break." Allie nodded, tears forming. "I've accepted a permanent position in Liberty City, a fresh start." "Good," Travis said, meaning it. "Distance will help us both." As they prepared to leave, Ali hesitated. "Can I ask one thing? Are you okay? Really okay?" The question caught Travis off guard. For months, his focus had been purely operational, neutralizing threats, securing positions, advancing tactically. No one, not even Leo, had asked so directly about his emotional state. "I will be," he answered truthfully. "Different, but okay." Ali reached across the table. Her fingers stopped short of touching his. "You deserve happiness, Travis. I hope you find it." Outside the coffee shop, they parted without a hug or handshake, just a final nod of acknowledgement. As Travis watched Ali walk away, he felt something shift inside him. Not forgiveness exactly, but a loosening of the cold, tactical mindset that had protected him through the worst of the betrayal. 3 days later, Travis received notification that his security review had been completed with no concerns identified. Captain Fleming requested a meeting. "The Distinguished Service Medal ceremony is next month," Fleming informed him. "You'll be there?" "Yes, sir," Travis confirmed. "I've reconsidered my position." Fleming nodded approvingly. "Good. And your personal situation?" "Resolved, sir." "The divorce is proceeding amicably," Travis replied. "And your future with the Corps?" Fleming asked, the question Travis had been avoiding. For the betrayal, Travis had been considering a training position that would mean fewer deployments but continued service. The recent events had disrupted those plans, leaving his career path uncertain. "Still under consideration, sir," Travis admitted. Fleming leaned forward. "The training command position is still available. Your experience would be invaluable to the next generation of operators. With respect, sir, I need more time." "Take it," Fleming said unexpectedly. "But remember, the Corps isn't just a mission. It's a family. And family helps you rebuild when everything else falls apart." The words resonated deeply with Travis. Throughout his ordeal, his military brothers had rallied around him. Leo with unwavering support, Dominic with technical expertise, and even Captain Fleming granting latitude beyond regulations. While his marriage had crumbled, his military family had strengthened. "I'll remember that, sir," Travis promised. 2 weeks later, Travis stood on the beach outside his rental cottage, watching a storm front approach from the Atlantic. Dark clouds gathered on the horizon, mirroring the turbulence he had weathered in recent months. His phone rang, Leo checking in as he did every few days. Training Command called again. Leo reported without preamble. "They're holding the position, but they need an answer by month end." Travis watched lightning fork across distant clouds. "What would you do?" he asked. "Continue serving," Leo answered without hesitation. "Different capacity, same mission. Besides, someone needs to teach these new operators how to handle both battlefield chaos and homefront disaster." Travis considered the perspective. Perhaps his painful experience might become valuable wisdom for others facing similar challenges. "I'll think about it," he promised. After ending the call, Travis walked along the shoreline as the storm approached, the wind whipping sand against his skin. The future remained uncertain, his marriage irretrievably lost, his career at a crossroads, his heart still healing from profound betrayal. But for the first time since returning to find another man in his home, Travis felt something beyond tactical calculation stirring within him. Not happiness, not yet, but the possibility. The storm would hit, as storms always do. Yet Travis had weathered worse, and emerged stronger, different, scared, but unbound. As rain began to fall, Travis turned toward the cottage, not running from the storm, but moving purposefully through it. One mission had ended, another lay beyond the horizon, and he would be ready when it arrived.